Welcome, and thank you for joining the AGS Young Titleholder webinar, Sourcing the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with Martin Rappaport. Before we get started, the Young Titleholders have a few announcements. The Mentor-Mentee program has been doing spectacular things for people in our industry. If you'd like to become a part of this one-of-a-kind program, contact us today. Please join us in Las Vegas at our happy hour with WJA and Gen Next on Saturday, June 2nd at Libertine Social in Mandalay Bay. The happy hour will go from 6 to 9 p.m. You will not want to miss it. Erica Silverglide of Gemology Geek will be taking over the AGS Young Titleholders Instagram account during Vegas shows, so look out for her for a chance to be featured. Keep an eye out for our next webinar on July 17th with Dave Bindra. For more information, please email youngtitleholders@ags.org. We are so excited to present Martin Rappaport. Martin, the chairman of the Rappaport Group, began his career in the diamond industry in 1975 as an apprentice diamond cleaver in Antwerp, Belgium. In 1978, he established the Diamond Report Rappaport, the primary source of the diamond pricing and market information. In 1980, he created RapNet, the world's first and largest electronic diamond trading network. RapNet currently provides daily diamond listings of 930,000 diamonds worth over $6.2 billion. It has over 7,000 members of the diamond trade in 80 countries. Please join me in welcoming Martin Rappaport.
Okay. Yes, I'm here. As everybody can hear me, are we okay? Everything's good? I sure hope so. I imagine that it's good, or else I would be hearing from you guys. Okay. Let's move along and try to see if we can't accomplish what we need to here. And let me see if I can just move my screen here. Okay, we're good. So first of all, thank you all for joining, and I hope we're going to have a lot of fun today. Do fasten your seatbelts. We'll be showing a couple of videos, but I do want to cover a number of subjects and a number of things. First of all, a little bit background about Rappaport. We are established the price sheet in 1978, 240 employees, 9 offices, 6 countries, and 20,000 clients. We're basically in the added value service business. We don't take positions on diamonds or jewelry. And what we do is we make markets. And I think the most important thing I can say to you is that we're a value-driven organization. And when I say values, I mean ethical, transparent, competitive, efficient markets. It's really important to us. So if it's not ethical, it's not transparent, competitive, or efficient, we're not interested in it. And I think you also may want to think about the relationship between transparency and competition, like an auction, or when you look at things and you combine transparency and competition, you generally get fair market value. So we are creators of fair market value in numerous ways. Not going to spend a lot of time about us, but we're in the information service business. RapNet actually has 16,000 members. I guess we have to update you, and we list $7.6 billion of diamonds for sale every day, about 1.2 million diamonds. We're in the diamond grading and certification business. We work even with the AGS lab, but we also represent GIA, and we have our own labs around the world, most notably in Israel and in India, as well as New York. And we do Rappaport auctions and trading services. We're the largest reseller or recycler of diamonds in the world, selling about 500,000 carats of polished diamonds through auctions every year. Again, we don't take our own positions. Just to give you a little heads up, RapNet 2.0 is coming out with a lot of security. We're moving into jewelry, and we're going to be running instant inventory, which allows jewelers to keep track of, actually put diamonds on their website. RapX is coming up. It's a bid-ask exchange, clearinghouse services, so you can actually transact online. And we're doing something interesting at the show, which I'll talk about, which is Rappaport appraisers. We're going to be defining a group of people that are, in fact, Rappaport-approved appraisers, which will be establishing jewelry evaluation standards. And there's going to be, I'll just give you a shout out about the show, Rappaport Breakfast. You're all invited. We have, I think, over 1,000 people that have registered. We usually get about 700, so about 30% don't show up. But do try to come if you can. It's 8 to 10 in the morning on Sunday in Vegas, so you have to be a kind of devoted person to get up that early. RapNet 2.0, I think I imagined security and stuff, a lot of stuff, and bid-ask exchange clearing. I think this is Rappaport appraisers. Here, I'm sorry. Here's the JCK thing, 8 to 10. Town hall meetings, really cool stuff. Managing an ethical supply chain. We're going to talk a lot about that today, but this is going to be a town hall meeting where everybody will be standing around in a circle and maybe shouting at each other if we're successful. and also calling all appraisers, where we're going to be talking about basically establishing standards for evaluation, not valuation, evaluation for describing a jewelry product. So that's a little bit about us. So now let's talk about why we're here. So we got about 7 minutes into our game so far. So what exactly are you buying when you're talking about sourcing? Let's think about it. What do you need? What are your strengths? Now, are you a brand showcase business? And a lot of people in the jewelry business, they sell brands. They don't have to buy product and look at the diamond or look at the product and make themselves crazy. And that's a different business than the kind of business I might be talking about when we're actually sourcing diamonds. Looking at them, this girdle is thick to extremely thick or unbelievably thick, or this culet is off center, or the pavilions don't match up. The pavilion lines don't meet together like they should. So there's a lot of aspects to being an expert in diamonds. So you want to question if you want to own diamonds. You want to think about that. And why do you want to own diamonds? And do you know how to own diamonds? Do you know how to buy diamonds? If you're sitting with someone who's selling you a diamond, can you say to them, I need a much lower price because this is strong fluorescence, or I need a lower price because the culet's off, or whatever it is. Some people, they can do very well buying strong fluorescent diamonds and selling them so they get them cheaper and they can compete with Blue Nile. But it really depends as to what you want. And you are the center of the universe when it comes to sourcing. Don't buy what you can't sell, avoid good deals. That's the worst thing in the world is when I see people buy things because they think, oh, this is a good deal, and they can't sell it. Always, before you buy, question, how are you going to sell this? Where are you going to sell this? Do you have a customer for this? Be aware of bundling. Now, in some instances, when you pay for something, you're really not buying the thing. You're actually buying a group of bundled services. So Memo, nothing wrong with Memo, just be aware it has a different price than if you were to pay cash. Credit, return privileges, all of those things affect the price of whatever you buy. And so you want to think about what is it that you're doing? What do you want? And if you want to have a Memo business, that's fine. If you want to have a cash business, that's fine. If you want to have both, it's fine. But you really need to segment out and separate out, especially when you're thinking about pricing information of what you're paying. So if you're thinking about buying for inventory, which is a scary thing to do because you got to know how you're going to sell it, think about cash, the power of cash. Don't pay a Memo price if you're buying for inventory. You need to really think about what you can do to buy for inventory in a good way, and think about a specific way that you're going to sell those goods. So if you're going to buy for inventory, make sure you know where those things are going to go. Also, you need the gemological and quality control skills if you're going to buy something like you're going to buy for inventory. It's a great opportunity, but you need to be very careful, and you need to know what you're doing, because the easiest thing in the world is to run out of cash. I'm now on 47th Street, and apparently there's a fire engine which is zooming by. Hopefully he won't, bother us too much. But I'll try to speak more directly into the microphone, and I hope you guys can actually hear me. Okay. More about the sourcing. Ignore asking prices. I mean, if you're going to buy diamonds, I would advise you to buy some earplugs, put them in your ear, and ignore all the nonsense everybody's humping you and pumping you and telling you and just twisting your brain. What's it worth to you? That's all it's worth. You got to really understand that when you look at a diamond to buy it, it's you and that diamond, and it's not the story from the seller. The seller is there to push the stuff at you. You're there to buy only what you need and only what you can sell, okay? So you want to be very sensitive about that. And what we do at Rapaport is we do a lot of segmentation and curation. And what that means is that we segment, literally, we have 80,000 people who get our trade wire. We segment them. We know what kind of people they are, they retailers or whatever. In your case, you want to be thinking about what kind of customers do you have? Who's going to be turned on by this diamond? And then you want to curate it. So what you do is you separate out the people. I call that segmentation. And then what you do is you curate to those people. You find things that those people love, that those people are going to really appreciate. Try to find niches. There's riches in the niches. Try to find things that are a little different that those customers are going to really appreciate. That's what you can do. But don't, a lot of times you see someone to go down there, how much is this? $10,000. Oh, he's asking 10. It's probably worth 8. I've had situations where people ask 10, you offer them 2, and he sells it to you. I mean, it's crazy. So negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. Always negotiate. Always, first of all, compare. Compare other products. That's why RapNet is so good. Compare. Compare it to what you've bought in the past. Compare it to what you have in your inventory. Do I really need this? Consult. Get advice. Whenever we have buyers coming into our offices or traveling around the world with us, we always talk and we schmooze, and we don't just instinctively offer or do something. We're very much consulting. Get advice on things. Compete. Always think about competitive elements, competitive suppliers. If you've got the cash, it's got to talk, man. Money talks. And you got to make that money talk by using these 4 C's. Compare, consult, compete. Look at competitors who are selling similar products and make your cash offer. People will give you tremendous benefit if you can buy for cash. Now, I'm not saying you should buy for cash because, like I said before, you might have a wonderful memo business and you can't have every diamond. You get yourself a nice 2-carat, the guy want a 3-carat. You'll get a pear shape and one of marquise. So don't freak out. Remember, what is your job? What is your role? What exactly is your business? And a good part of your business isn't sourcing, it's selling. It's knowing who your customers are. So don't oversource. Don't buy too much. Certainly never buy anything you don't need. The other thing we find helpful is to track your profits by your suppliers. A lot of times suppliers are much more knowledgeable than you are about the product. So they find all kinds of ways to sell you all kinds of things. Don't buy for inventory, buy for profit. You should be able to buy and you should be able to attribute your profits when you buy something. Dump what doesn't sell. Get rid of that inventory sitting in the safe and then use the money to buy what you can sell. I mean, this is such obvious stuff that I'm saying, but almost everybody has got all this stuff in the safe and they don't know what to do about it, and it sits there. I think we looked at some research that said like 80% of the people have got all this stuff sitting there, like maybe 20% of your inventory covers 80% of your sales, and the 20-80 rule. What's with that other stuff? And think about how you can sell what you have. Really important before you buy. Sell what you've got, and you'll learn so much by selling into the market too. Sometimes you'll sell to the wholesalers or other people, and you'll start to learn how much they offer. People say to me, "How do I know what a diamond is worth?" So I say, just try to sell it. You'll find out pretty damn quick what a diamond is worth. Because, like I have new employees that come in. I say, here's an H3S2, walk around 47th Street. It's got a GIA certificate, XXX. Tell me what you can get for it. And they come back shocked. They're really, wow. And then they can think about, when they sell something, what the true worth of something is. Diamond is worth what you can sell it for, no more. And certainly that's all it's worth to you. Buying is more important than selling. And I'm talking about not that you go and you try to sell diamonds and you look at the world around you, but rather when you buy right, you can get liquid. You can sell it to the trade. Maybe you lose a little bit. If you buy something and you try to resell it at wholesale and you find out that you're losing 20 or 30%, you haven't bought right, okay? The other thing is go to cash. You should be aware interest rates are going to be increasing. Try to keep cash around. Cash is king. Cash is power. And cash in many instances is survival, okay? So if you're over-leveraged right now, I'm telling you interest rates are going up. And you need to be very careful about that. And so, the best thing is not to have the bank as, with his hands in your pocket as your partner. The banker is not your partner. He's there to pull all the profits he can out of you. So go to cash. And the trick is if you can't be in cash or if you don't have cash, maybe you really shouldn't be buying so much. Maybe you should be memoing and doing stuff like that. Finally, buy from privates. Privates are consumers. That's the trade term. Don't miss the baby boomer boom. I mean, I am now 66 years old, and we'll be celebrating 40 years of the Rappaport price sheet this July. I am so old, it's ridiculous. And I'm thinking about this, and I'm born in 1952, so I'm in the baby boomer game. But there's a lot of baby boomers, after all the soldiers came home after World War II, they got married. Now, those days, people still got married. And they had kids. Those days, people had kids. And they had a lot of kids. And those are the baby boomers. So if you're looking at baby boomers in their 70s and they want to go and they want to send their grandchild to college, or, sometimes people pass away and then the kids don't want to know what to do with the jewelry, you're there to service those people. You're there to help those people. And we at Rappaport are really very strongly into that trend. Like I told you, we're the largest recyclers, selling about 500,000 carats of polish. But I believe that that is one of the greatest opportunities in the world for sourcing, bar none, which means you have to become an expert. Okay, so get into the resale and estate jewelry market, but don't do this. Let me spell this right. Don't do this. Do this only if you have the skills and the customers. So don't just jump into something, but pick a direction. Think about, this is how I want to source. If you're capable of understanding what your customers need, you'll never go wrong if you know what you're doing by buying from privates. Now, I would say to you, it could be embarrassing because let's say you have a price of a certain product, $4,000 in your store, and someone comes in with a similar item and you're offering them in $2,000 or $1,800. You're going to feel weird. But the bottom line is you need to help the person. Transcend the product to the human being sitting across from you. That is probably one of the most important things that you can ever do or learn. Okay? And never, ever buy what you can't sell. So, go to sell, look at the shows, make connections, talk to other estate jewelers. We at Rappaport talk to us. We're developing an entire recycled business for estate jewelry. And like I said before, the Rappaport Group is going into jewelry. RapNet will be offering jewelry. But we believe that one of the greatest opportunities for sourcing in the world, bar none, is the recycling business of the United States of America and getting to know the people who want to, sell their stuff. I don't know. Go visit an old age home and give them a course in jewelry. It's really crazy to think this way, but, be honest, be straight, and really help people to liquidate or sell the jewelries. Know your product better than your supplier. And that's like the idea that I was saying before. Put the earplugs in your ear. Don't listen to all the nonsense. Don't care about his asking price. The question is, when you're sourcing, what is it worth to you? And that's it. Nothing else matters. And I'll tell you an example. Okay, so we auction a lot of diamonds that's what we do. When I say largest recyclers, everything goes to auction. So it's funny because here's a guy who pays the highest price for something, and he calls, I won at the auction. And, people say, what, are you kidding me? What do you mean you won? You paid the highest price in the world for this item. What do you mean you won? Well, I think you have to understand, what's going on behind the story here. Because when the guy buys it at the auction, he knows where he's going to sell it. So let's say there's a diamond or there's a piece of jewelry up for sale, and everybody's bidding on it. And this guy bids, 10,000, and the other guy, because he knows he can sell it for 11. The other guy bids 10,200 and can sell it also for 11. So the guy who won is he actually made $800. He made the money. That's why he's a winner, because when he bought it, he knew where he was going to place it. So he's a winner because he's going to make that money. The guy who didn't get the piece for 10,000, he's not a winner. He's not going to make any extra profits. So when you look at something to source it, I want you to think all the time about where it goes and how much money you can make from it. So when you're buying, you should always be thinking about how much profit is in this piece. And that's where your mind has to go all the time. And if you don't see the profit, if you don't know what you're going to do with it, don't buy it. Okay? Only buy what you can sell, and don't ever listen to the stories. Oh, it's so cheap. It's so cheap. The colored stones are like crazy this way. Really, $10,000 asking and $2,000 or something, you end up buying it. It's like the market in Thailand or something. It's like, when you walk around in those markets and you buy things. You don't want to insult anybody. But if you're offering cash, they may get angry at you and they may act angry at you. But again, it's only worth it what it's worth to you. There is no other value. I'm going to stop for a second here. Is everybody kind of with me? It's really weird to do this thing because I don't have a video of everybody. But I appreciate if somebody would say something so I know you're actually hearing me. Can anybody, I don't know, is anyone allowed to speak on this thing? Or AGS guys over there, can you guys say anything before I continue on? I guess not. Maybe they can give me a chat or something. We got 21 participants. Okay. I assume that you guys can hear me, or else I'm sure someone would call me, or someone from AGS would call me. So now we talked a little bit about the practical common sense aspects of sourcing, which I felt I sort of owed you guys. But now let's go into another world about, we said the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's take a look at this Peace Diamond story. The Peace Diamond was found by 5 diggers who were really among the poorest people in the world. They no water in their village, no clean water. And by the way, water is the number one indicator of infant mortality rates. So when there's no clean water, people get really sick, babies die. It's really not good. No electricity, no roads to their village, no medicine, no school. So these guys, 5 of them and their supporter, find this 709-carat diamond. I'll show you what the diamond looked like. This is what they found. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Hopefully, you can actually see what a 709-carat diamond looks like. And the government came to us, and now there's a long story, but I'm making it short. The government came to us and said, "Hey, can you sell it?" And I said, "Well, what are you going to do with the money?" And they said, "No, all the money is going to the government, and it's going to the diggers. 40% to the diggers, 60% to the government." So I said, that's something that's good. This is really a good thing, because if in fact these diamonds, the money goes to the government, then the government can do things. So before I talk a little bit more about that, I'm going to play this video. And look, I hope you guys have my cell number or something, but call me at the AGS team if for any reason the video doesn't play properly. Okay? So I'm going to take it up, take it big. Hopefully, let me get the...
This is Sierra Leone, West Africa. Sierra Leone, Kono District, West Africa. Not East Africa, not South Africa, not North Africa. Sierra Leone, West Africa, Sierra Leone.
With a population of 7.4 million people, Sierra Leone borders Guinea to the north and east, and Liberia to the south. Sierra Leone's life expectancy is rated at 50 years, one of the lowest in the world. With a gross domestic product of $4 billion, an estimated 70% of the population live under $2 a day. Sierra Leone is ranked one of the poorest countries in the world. Sierra Leone is a diamond-rich country. In 2015, 420,000 carats of diamond were exported from Sierra Leone, valued at $150 million US. But where's that money going? Apparently, very little of the money is benefiting the communities these diamonds come from. Sierra Leone is a country of optimism, hope, and opportunity. With 60% of Sierra Leone's youth unemployed, one can't help but wonder what potential Sierra Leone can offer the world if only conditions improve. On March 16, 2017, a 709-carat diamond was reportedly found in Sierra Leone. Immediately, the world showed interest and looked at the question: is the diamond found a fair trade diamond?
Because most of us, we are digging the diamond, but we don't know the details about the value of it, the type of diamond minerals that came out of this ground. This should have not been the condition of our country today. And some of them, we just say about them going up and down, exporting and importing. But what we are expecting them, all and solely that they should bring development in this country.
We set out to Koyadu village to look for the pastor where the diamond was reportedly found.
It all started in the days of our fathers. Diamonds were found during that period, like 80 carat, 90 carat, but we make no profit from them. It's like those diamonds were not taken the right way or taken to the government. That's why we gain nothing from it as a village. But for this present one, when we found this diamond, we told our supporters that we need to go straight to the government so that we'll be able to gain something profitable from it. First of all, we don't have school.
And most times when the rain comes, it splashes on the children in the class. We run away. So how can you run a village school wherein there is nothing to eat?
And 2, no hospital. 3, we have poor road network. And 4, no chance for our children to be educated. He said by the grace of God, He will help us. So we are looking to the help of God.
The past diamonds, whether it was taken to the government or not, we don't know. And nothing was done for this village. We are left with nothing but just the name.
After hearing from the villagers about life in Koyadu, we went to visit the site where the 709-carat diamond was found, located in the forest a few kilometers from the village.
This is the place
where the diamond was found by Pastor Momo.
We start 5 o'clock. We move from the bed. We come to the working place. We mine with shovels. We don't have machine that can help us. We do physical challenges.
I was seated over there on top of that stick. On top of that stick, they pulled the gravel. Chief was also pulling the gravel. They saw the diamond. The children rushed and took the diamond and gave it to Chief. Chief gave it to me and I put it in my pocket. And we gave it to our pastor.
I have never seen such type of diamond before. We were doing this job without any food. We only eat things.
Visiting Koredu village and learning how difficult life is in Sierra Leone made me realize just how much this diamond can help these people.
And when we came to the Director General's office one morning, and he told us Rappaport has expressed interest, we were all excited because we know what Rappaport stands for. We know the role that Rappaport played in Sierra Leone after the Civil War to transform the image of our diamonds from blood diamonds to peace diamonds.
No good road, no water supply, no electricity. What to eat is absent. The diamond can bring us light here. So if you so buy the diamond, let him come with light in exchange. Barter system, we are no more slaves. Africa, we are no more slaves. Yes.
I am Pastor Emmanuel Momo. I'm a diamond digger from Sierra Leone, Konodisi. Please buy our natural diamond.
Okay, so that's interesting a bit, but let's really try to understand what's going on here, okay? First of all, these places really exist. These are real people, and they're as much as a part of the diamond industry as any AGS member. And I think we need to take a moment and realize that. And I'll tell you something amazing, actually. The government agreed, we sold the diamond for $6.5 million to Lawrence Graff. 60% of the money went to the government of Sierra Leone, and they agreed to take 25% of that, which is about $1 million, and put it into the villages. And 40% tax-free went to the diggers, which is a lot of money for these guys. I mean, these guys make $1 a day or something, $2 a day. So what didn't happen was the diamond wasn't sold to smugglers. And the smugglers, they were mostly the Hezbollah guys, which from Lebanon, and like the biggest building in Kono district or Kono city is actually a mosque, which I'm not against the mosque. Most of these people are Muslim, that's fine. But the bigger issue is, what are we doing about these people? What are we doing about these diamonds? Can we help them? I'll tell you something actually amazing, and it's very timely. 3 of my sons, Azriel Rappaport and Shimshon Rappaport. By the way, this film was made by Shimshon. He actually shot about 50 hours of video when he was there, and this boiled down to about 4 minutes. And my other son that just finished the army, Mayor, the 3 of them, they were actually slept last night in Koryardu. They went to Sierra Leone. They met the new president. There's been an election there, and they're working hard to get the money from this diamond to go to the village and to put in, to put in water, first of all, and to put in electricity. So the name of the game here is, if in fact there is benefit to this village, more and more diggers are going to give their diamonds or sell their diamonds or pay taxes on the diamonds legitimately, which means that there's going to be government revenue. And if the government, in fact, benefits these villages with water and electricity, it'll create a cycle of benefits. And that's what the Rappaport Group, that's what I'm trying to accomplish. That's what our family is trying to do out there. Now, you're the young title holders. You want an adventure? Come with us to Sierra Leone. Come and see and feel and understand what's going on. Okay, this is a big trip. Okay, going to Sierra Leone's not easy. You got to take malaria pills. You got to have yellow fever shots. It's a pretty serious kind of an environment. I was there myself a number of times. And like I told you, 3 of my sons were in Sierra Leone this week. And it's funny because they went from the auctions in Geneva, which is the most luxurious, finest things, to Sierra Leone. And they met the president. They slept in the village last night. And they're going to work as hard as they can to get people, to get the government and bring benefit to the village, to start this cycle of benefit so that more and more diamonds get taxes paid on them. You know, more and more, and we're not interested in selling them. We made nothing. We sold the Peace Diamond for zero. I said, I don't want to make any money on this. As long as the money is going to help these people, I'm good. It's fine with me. And so the big idea here is for people in our industry to get involved, to meet these diggers, to go out there, to interact, to understand, to learn, because our diamond business isn't really about diamonds. It's about people. And so I would throw a challenge out there to you guys. We plan to make a trip, another trip again, and especially when they actually put in the water and stuff. So come on, come with us. And come with Rappaport to Sierra Leone. Come and see the diggers. Come and meet these actual people. Meet Pastor Momo. Meet Chief Sakwi. Meet the guy, by the way, who was speaking at the end. He's very sick right now. We're trying to help him because he got sick. And in Sierra Leone, you know, you could die from something that in the United States, you just take a couple of antibiotics and you're fine. But you can't get good medicines out there. So the bottom line is that the good opportunities that our industry has are huge. There is so much that we can do that's fantastic. And, you know, creating this trust in government, creating a new narrative for Sierra Leone, moving from blood diamonds to peace diamonds, this is a good thing. And this is what our industry can and should do. And we should incorporate these people in our environment, okay? All right. I'd like to maybe take you to another strange, maybe, you know, video here. And this is going to be the Human Rights Watch video. Now, I don't know about HRW, Human Rights Watch. You know, they may exaggerate things. They're an NGO. But I think it's important what they're communicating. And I think it's important to listen to them when we talk about sourcing and what they're saying. They may exaggerate stuff, but why don't we play this video? I think it's only about another 3-4 minutes as well. And this will kind of give us a background as we start bringing our discussion along to other areas, okay? So hang on there, okay?
Nilipokuwa nataka kutoka ndio likanigomokea gari. Nikapoteza fahamu, nilipopoteza fahamu wakaja kuja kunitoa, waliponitoa wakanipeleka chini. Kuoga maana kama unakamatisha na yenyewe na mkaribu. Na pale unapochoma dhahabu na ule meki unapochoma upepo ule ikiingia kumbe ni makosa unasubiri na naongea kufua.
All right, so now the question is, look, I don't necessarily trust Human Rights Watch about everything that they say. And I don't think the issue here is, oh my gosh, consumers are going to go crazy because of Human Rights Watch and this and that. Although there's definitely no question that among us, and it's not just millennials. I don't think millennials own ethical, relationships or ethical responsibilities. It's a responsibility of us as human beings, all of us, to think about, what's going on here, and or can we in fact do these things? Is it realistic to expect companies to know where and what is going on with these diamonds or gold? And I think that what we need to do is we need to engage. We need to go to Africa. We need to go to places. We need to get out there, transcend the product to the people, get to know the people, see what's going on, become involved. And it's not just about the jewelry business. It's about us being better people. If we're just hiding in America and Rodeo Drive or wherever our fancy jewelry stores are, and we're not going out and having the adventure, and this is why it's great to talk to young title holders, okay? You should have the adventure. You should go out there. You should see what's happening. And one of the things, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. And one of our goals is going to be to get people to meet people, to take people to Sierra Leone, to take people, you'll see Surat, India as well. And to get the people to understand what is really going on deep, deep, deep in the supply chain. So, if you know how to buy diamonds, we talked about that a little bit, but the idea of greenwashing is very concerning to me. And I want to, cover this. What happens with the supply chain and the big lie? And what's the big lie? The Kimberley process. The Kimberley process says that diamonds are okay. And a lot of jewelers believe that, but it's totally untrue. I was there. I was in Kimberley. I was one of the few people that you might meet who was actually in Kimberley when we started the Kimberley process in 2000. And, it was a compromise. There was no way that we could put human rights or any kind of a money laundering or terrorist funding, they didn't even talk about it those days, into the issue of, the Kimberley process. There was a war going on in Sierra Leone. I was there in the war. State Department, I saw dead bodies in the street, okay? So, that was pretty mind-blowing. And what I can say to you is that we stopped the war because of the Kimberley process, had a big impact. And the United Nations Security Council did agree to put sanctions and boycotts on Liberia. And in fact, that stopped the flow of money coming from the diamonds and the fueling of the war. But we didn't have an opportunity to put in human rights or anything like money laundering. And it'll never happen because it's a group of, for example, the Kimberley process allows the sale of Zimbabwean diamonds. And Zimbabwean diamonds are totally not acceptable. And they're even on the OFAC sanctions list. But those diamonds come through the Kimberley process, and Zimbabwe is a member of the Kimberley process. So how are you going to say to the Kimberley process, do not put in diamonds from Zimbabwe when they can just veto it? So the Kimberley process works that everybody has to agree to everything all the time. And it has this terrible scenario where, anybody can change it or not change it, stop change from happening. So there's like zero opportunity for the Kimberley process to extend itself into human rights. So all these jewelers out there who think, oh, I have a KP certificate, so my diamond is non-conflict. Yeah, it may not be conflict in the sense that rebel troops aren't shooting a government, but it's nothing to do with human rights, nothing to do with money laundering, nothing to do with terrorist funding. So as we look at the diamond industry, the way that I look at the diamond industry, I question these things and I say, hold on a minute, this is not good. Now everybody's dancing around the blockchain, but the blockchain is garbage in, garbage out. You put Zimbabwean diamonds into the blockchain, so what have you got? So we have to be very careful about all the hocus pocus baloney that's coming from this diamond industry, from all these guys talking about something. Ethical sourcing is difficult. It's not easy, but it transcends you. It makes you a better person. So, Rappaport, we're going to take people to Sierra Leone. We want to take people to Surat. We want you to meet diggers and people who are not just the big companies, but the small people, the middle-sized people. And what's amazing is I'm talking to AGS title holders. I don't think you guys are Signet people. I don't think you guys are Tiffany people. I don't think you guys are big chain people. You're very similar to the smaller people cutting in Surat. So if you interact with each other, you build those relationships, you understand more, you learn more, you touch and feel what's going on. This is the right way to approach this issue of ethical sourcing, because you're going to be there. You're going to see people and understand. So you really need to get off your butt and go out there. And if you really want to understand sourcing issues. Now, let me take you to these ideas here of what are some of the problems of the Rappaport that I see. And I see too much. I know too much. It's not healthy. It's not good. But let me give you an example. And by the way, this slide got me thrown out of the Bharat Diamond Bourse. And it didn't actually throw me out, but they wouldn't renew our lease or let us buy an office there. What am I looking at here? This is rough imports. These are rough exports. And this is the amount of extra money that sits there in the UAE, which is Dubai. So in 2016, Dubai imported $6.4 billion. These were in 6,481 million to 6.4 billion. And somehow miraculously, they exported 8 billion. That's an extra $2.115 billion. And so what's going on there? How does that happen? How do these diamonds become worth so much more money? Is it the sunshine out there? There's no mines in Dubai. So, you think about this, you say, what the hell's going on? And this isn't 1 year's weird stuff. So there's two options here. One is that the guys that are exporting the diamonds, and India imports 90% of the world's diamonds. So, you think about that and you say, well, maybe they're increasing the price when they export the diamonds into India. And therefore, it looks like it's more because they're taking their profits, transfer pricing in Dubai. But, President of the Bharat Diamond Board jumped up and said, no, our customs checks everything. It's all being imported at market prices. And then I said, oh my God, if it's being exported at market prices, why is it being imported at like 40% below those prices? Where's the $2 billion going? To which, is it going to Al-Qaeda? Is it going to Isabella dos Santos? I mean, where's it going? So we have a $2 billion hole. I don't care about the extent of, transfer pricing. If people buy yachts, I don't worry about that. I worry about money from the diamond industry going back into Africa, going back into places that create this problem of money laundering, terrorist funding, or, excuse me, or all kinds of stuff. These are facts. This is really happening every day. So I'm looking at these numbers. I'm seeing these things. I'm bringing it to the attention of the industry, and it's a ho-hum deal. So we have to be aware that things are not the way they should be, at least not with this $2 billion. But then here's a funny situation. We look at what De Beers says. According to De Beers, there's 146 million carats mined each year, but the Kimberley process is only 126. The Kimberley process is the stuff they mine is worth $12.1227 billion, but De Beers says it's 15.4, an extra 26%. That's another $3 billion that's somehow not in the KP. The stuff that I showed you before is in the KP. This is KP data. So there's $2 billion in KP down around. And then there's another 3.13. So I can actually identify $5 billion of diamonds that are unaccounted for. And then you have all these people telling the Kimberley process, don't worry, Kimberley process, don't worry. It's just money. It's greenwashing. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these numbers are mistaken. Maybe the 5 billion is only 2.5 billion. But that's not a kosher industry. So I'm fighting as much as I can. I'm working in Washington, and I'm talking about all these things to see how can we actually change the world? How can we make it more responsible? So it's not like, there's nothing that you can do. If 3 of my sons are in Sierra Leone sleeping in Koryardu village with no water, no electricity or anything, we're obviously trying to do things. But again, everybody should join in. We should have a different attitude about our diamonds. We should really go to the source, and we should learn, we should interact, and we should have relationships, because ultimately it can't be a one-man band or anything like that. We have to think about how can we as just human beings, deal with stuff like this. There's another interesting idea here that I wanted to lay out to people, and I really don't want to go into tax policy. I was up all night last night writing an amazing article. I think it's amazing about, Trump trade policy. That's going to be an interesting one. But I do think that I just want to point out something that's happening as well. First of all, if people show you diamonds from India, it takes them they're going to have to spend money to take them back unless they send them out on memo. Because here's the story. India charges 5% anytime we sell them. If you try to export diamonds to India, the U.S. doesn't charge anything for polished diamonds. Diamond jewelry is 31.56%, and we're at 5.5. What that means is that India is more protectionist. So even as we look at the world and try to understand what's going on, we find that there's blockages and there's problems out there. So my thinking is that, in fact, we are going to address the issue of money laundering and terrorist funding and, that $5 billion that I'm talking about. And we're going to try to really dig down into this to understand what we can do to clean up or make the diamond industry better. But I do want to make one point. I don't think we can clean up everything. I don't think we can solve the problem of Dubai. I don't think we can solve the problem of these extra $3 billion of diamonds. But here's what we can do. And this was where the Kimberley process idea came in, from kosher diamonds. What we can do is we can legitimize what can be legitimized. So if we're legitimizing a 709 carat out of Sierra Leone, if we're creating an environment where people are selling the diamonds and paying taxes on them and they're legitimizing their diamonds, artisanal diggers I'm talking about, then those diamonds become kosher. Those diamonds become good. And then we can put them into a blockchain, or then we can do things with them. So it's very important for us to realize as we talk about sourcing, it's not an easy story. There are problems. But what we can do, instead of fighting everything that's evil in the world, what we can do is we can start to develop the good channels, create good roads, create good ways to do business. And the more we support the good, the more the good will compete against the bad. And that is the challenge for our industry, in my view, okay? Create legitimization, legitimize diggers, legitimize people in Surat, legitimize the small people of our industry. And the more that we do that, the more that we find legitimate ways, the more we create legitimate channels of distribution that really beneficiate and benefit people, the better our industry will be, but also the better it will be. Because actually, when you get down to it, diamond business is, like I say, it's about us. It's about people, not just the suppliers and not just the diggers and not just the cutters in Surat. It's about us, you and me. How are we looking in the mirror? What do we say to our kids? Are we making the world a better place? And that's why when we sold the peace diamond, I said, I'm not charging money. I just want to make the world a better place with that. Start a virtuous cycle of benefits. Get more people to get more water and stuff. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my kids going out and sleeping at Koyardu last night. They actually went to show the villagers, we're with you. We're going to sleep here. No water, no electricity, mosquitoes with malaria, whatever the hell's going on there. We're with you. And that idea of we're with you, I believe, is the key to being able to create legitimate supply chains, legitimate sourcing, which can make all the difference for us. So we're at 1 hour and we're at 48 minutes. I'm pretty much done here. And share your thoughts. I'm here. I don't know how you want to do Q&As, or I would like to pass this back to the good people over there at AGS. We lost 2 people only. Okay, we're at 22 people, I guess. And I'm here, and I'm happy to talk to everybody. So I don't know how we want to communicate, but I pass the torch back to the AGS organizers, and I'm available for questions. And by the way, contact me. Write me an email. Come and visit me at the show. We're around. I don't know our booth number, but we're around. And talk to me. Talk to my teams. And my son, Israel, who has slept last night in Koyardu, he's going to be at the show as well. So, talk to people, reach out and share with us. And if you really want an adventure, you want to go to Sierra Leone, you want to go to India, talk to us, because I'm going to be running people out there. We're going to be getting people to come and see and interact. So over to you, my AGS guys. I see a Q&A here. How about Canadian source goods for ethical sorting? Look, I think Canada's fine. I think that, it's great if you can get Canadian goods. And you can do it, but be aware that even if you do get those Canadian goods, you're not solving the problem of those guys in Sierra Leone that don't have clean water. So yeah, do it. It's great. You can ignore the other issues out there, but yeah, I think it's fine. I think people were saying that synthetic diamonds are also legitimate, although I don't buy that. I don't think that that synthetic diamonds are legitimately more ethical than the diamonds coming out of these diggers. If you can get a digger and you can help them, it's a stretch. That's really ethical. But I don't think that to say that synthetics are more ethical than other ones. But especially now, what do you know? The diggers are going to starve to death here. You're going to move everybody to ethical. But I think Canadian goods are interesting, and if you're selling them and you're happy with them and you know what you're doing, I think you're fine. Okay, let's see. It says 2 over here. Maybe there's another question. Let me see over here. Okay, Lisa Savritas says, thank you. That's great. Anybody else? It's weird. I'm used to talking. Blockchain by itself isn't going to solve anything. Blockchain is simply a systematic way for doing things. It's like saying to me, will telephones, will computer databases solve the problem of people getting abused in Africa or people being shot in Zimbabwe? No. Blockchain by itself doesn't do anything. All that blockchain does is it allows databases or flows of information to be put in a place where everybody can see it, and it also locks it up so you can't change it. It takes out the wiggle room. So yes, if we in fact put in good information, and so we're going to do a RAP blockchain too. As a matter of fact, we're going to have some very interesting discussions in Las Vegas at the Rapport Breakfast about the blockchain. But I think the idea that the blockchain is a panacea, it solves all problems, it's just like the Kimberley process. It doesn't. The question is up to us as human beings. What are we putting into the blockchain now? If we can differentiate legitimate diamonds from not legitimate diamonds, the diamonds that come from not slave labor or not mercury gold or whatever, then it's great. Then it's fine. But it is a good way to tag, and it is a good way to identify what is legitimate. Like, for example, okay, I'm a religious, not religious, funny word. I'm an Orthodox Jewish guy that eats kosher food. So here I am in Vegas. How do I know the chicken's kosher? Well, there's a systematic way that we process the chicken or wherever we process, and we know what it is. So that kind of supply chain monitoring has existed for thousands of years. Now, the blockchain will help us, no question about it, but it's not going to solve it, because if we, just like the Kimberley problem, the Kimberley process, the KP, Kimberley process, Kimberley problem, but just like the Kimberley process doesn't solve the problem. Even though it tracks the flow of diamonds. But if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. So I would say that it's a tool that can be used to help us identify the flow of diamonds through the diamond distribution system. But we have to be extremely careful not to use it as a greenwashing tool, like they do the Kimberley process and say, oh, it's in the blockchain, so it's okay. Why is it okay just because it's in the blockchain? So we have to be careful about that. Is there an African country that does a really good job of benefiting the diamond diggers? Not really. Look, when you there's two kinds of diamonds. There's alluvial diamonds and there's kimberlites and limperites. But kimberlites basically are mine diamonds that go with a big hole in the ground. You can put a fence around it. And most of the diamond mines that belong to the big mining companies like De Beers or Alrosa are all of these diamond mines that have fences around them. So there's no problem. Alluvial diamonds come from ancient riverbeds. They're washed out volcanoes. And so the diamonds are literally all over the place. It's very hard to control access to them. So when you look at the artisanal sector, that's where the diamond diggers are. You know, they're in these rivers and everything. And now for these guys, it's very difficult. I don't know of any. I think Sierra Leone is trying to do it. I don't know. Angola is a problem, big problem. Congo, huge problem. Wars going on there. Zimbabwe is a big problem. We're looking now at Liberia. As a matter of fact, I asked my kids to go out to Zimi, where a lot of the fancy yellow diamonds come from. Some of the finest fancy yellow diamonds in the world come from Zimi, which is on the border of Sierra Leone and Liberia. The actual river there is the border, and that river has diamonds in it. So I don't know of any Africans do a really good job benefiting the diamond diggers. You know, you have like the DDI that goes out there and they write these things and they spend a lot of money, got a lot of paper, and they have a few, diggers, a few diggers groups. So, you want to encourage everybody. You don't want to talk bad anybody. You just want to encourage everybody. But I don't know of anything. I think Sierra Leone is our best shot. The new president just came in 2 weeks ago. He was elected from another party. The past president also was decent. He didn't steal the diamond when the diggers gave it to him. They trusted him. The new president was very friendly. As a matter of fact, my sons went to see him this past Friday, so everything was fresh. And he was very positive about it. But I think mostly they want to get away from diamonds. Diamonds are very problematic, and the way that they're mined and the way that they're found. But, I think Sierra Leone is right now probably one of the best countries in terms of the opportunity to do a really good job benefiting the diamond diggers. I mean, it's all about taxes. If diamonds are smuggled out of the country and there's no taxes, the government has no money to put in water, electricity, medical, schools, roads, can't do it. If the money goes to the government, now there's a question if the government's going to steal the money, okay, through corruption. And I think we're getting to the point now where, they're saying, no, we want to build our country up. The world is moving very rapidly. There's lots of internet capabilities. I've been on the phone with WhatsApp. I mean, they didn't have it in the village or anything, but when the kids are, I call them kids, he's 34 years old. But when my sons are in areas that are more, kind of like regular cities or like even village, larger, cities up there, like they're able to communicate using WhatsApp. And there's internet. So we're seeing a development and a growth in a lot of these countries that are really good. And they use banking on phones. So there's a whole, developing world, out there. So that's like a good thing. Okay, so I'm putting our efforts on Sierra Leone right now. I can't do the world, but that's what I'm thinking about. Okay. Currently, what percentage of profits are turned around, given back to the community? Well, here's exactly what happened, which was very interesting with the Peace Diamond. I was only interested in helping them if the money from the diamond would go to the people. And these artisanal diggers, they don't read or write. Although Pastor Momo does. He was like the supporter of them. He was giving them the money to be able to dig. But anyways, the law in Sierra Leone was great. It said, if you find a diamond anywhere, and it's an alluvial diamond, you didn't find it in someone else's mine, you just found it somewhere, and you give it to the government will take 60%. Of the 60%, 25% will go to your community, and you, the digger, whoever found the diamond, the supporter, will get 40%. So the way it works in Sierra Leone, if an artisanal digger without a license, without anything, finds a diamond, gives it to the government, okay, then 60% will go to the government, 40% tax-free to the diggers. And that's great. That works. For me, it works because you don't need the paperwork or anything else. Now, that tax money of the 60%, 25% goes to the community. So the government will be taking money, in this case, the $6.5 million, 15%, 60%, 25% of 60% is 15%. So you're talking about $1 million that's going to go into these villages, Koryardu, et cetera. Now, we're pushing to get that done. There was a change of government and, things can get lost, which is why my sons went to Sierra Leone. That's why they met with the president. That's why they're trying to follow up. That's why they're talking to the villagers. And they're working hard to make sure that the benefit actually comes, because if the benefit comes, we sold the diamond in December, it's now May, okay? Government changed, still haven't put in water, although they started to dig some wells. But we're going to press on. We're going to keep going to the village, going to the government, saying, come on, help, help, help. Now, I believe, as I've said before, if in fact the government does put in water, does put in electricity, does put in a school, whatever, everybody's going to say, this is great. Let's bring our diamonds to the government. Let's get taxes paid. And that's our goal. Our goal is to create a virtuous cycle of benefit by the fact that these artisanal diamonds are being taxed. So we're looking to make those taxes work. And I think that if the government doesn't steal the money, which I hope they won't, I don't think they will. We got to trust people. People think Sierra Leone's terrible. I think it's bloody racist. Okay, I don't see any reason the government of Sierra Leone shouldn't be treated as an honest and decent government. You got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They've been through so much Ebola and mudslides, not to mention the war. So I think that we really need to put our trust that we need to help these governments, not through money, but through systematic ways of improving, the cycle of beneficiation for the people. That's the real goal. That's the real goal. More questions. Oh, I see 7 questions. I don't know if we got, there's got to be a little more here. Okay. How do we know the cutters we deal with are ethically sourcing their goods and giving back? Isn't it that these cutters or companies are a part of that can help with buying from these companies? Look, you've got certain basic levels like the Responsible Jewelry Council, which we're a member of, but the RJC tells you this guy is good, but the guy could have another company that's really bad. You really got to meet the people, and you got to go down there and understand what's going on. I don't know that you should trust anybody anywhere in the diamond business, frankly. Okay, I guess President Reagan used to say trust and verification. So you can trust people, you can honor people, but you really have to check it out. Now, how can you check it out? Come to Surat, come to Sierra Leone, check it out, see what's going on, talk to the cutters, ask them where their goods come from, and have them show it to you. We're working now on a source certification program, which a lot of people don't like, but we're going to actually go to factories with our Rappaport people. We got 90 people working for us in India. And we have a 10,000 square foot of office space in Surat, as well as a whole bunch of office space in Mumbai. And we're going to go and we're going to follow the diamonds from the invoice of the diamond straight through to the factory, where there's software that tracks diamonds through the factory to make sure that the diamonds aren't stolen or switched. all the way to the GIA grading report. We're not going to be able to do melee and stuff that you can't track, but we're going to start with diamonds that can be graded, AGS grading report, GIA grading report. I don't care. The bottom line is, once you have a grading report in a diamond, you can actually identify the diamond that matches that report. And then that's where the blockchain starts to become interesting, because you could say GIA or AGS certificate 1, 2, 3, 4, tell me its story. And we can tell you the story. But we also are going to go into the factory and say, your software says that this diamond is supposed to be at station number 3. It's supposed to be at the Sawyer, at the Brilliant Deer, or whatever. Our guys will show up and say, hey, show me, where's this diamond? So we'll audit it. We'll audit it in a much more proactive way. So, I think that having a Rappaport, and even on RapNet, we're going to start maybe putting, I don't know if it's green stars or red stars. We're going to put stars on diamonds that we can trace. I should also mention that the GIA has new technology, which actually can look at a rough diamond, can do things with it, and then 90% of the time can tell you if a polished diamond came from the rough. But they have to see the rough first. But they can actually match rough to polish. The problem is, what if it's cut in a bad factory? What if it's cut in a factory with no fire extinguishers or whatever have you? So every element of the supply chain needs to be looked at to do legitimization, and we're committed to doing that. We believe that, it's not the most profitable. Mumbai, not so much, because Mumbai is finished. Surat is good. Visit factories, small people's factories. Come with us, see what's going on. Mumbai is a good place, and I think that the Indian companies, a lot of the bigger companies, are very responsible. RJC members, and a lot of companies actually say that they are tracking the diamonds, although they're not getting really audited so fast. But the Responsible Jewelry Council, I'll be meeting with their David Buffard of Signet, just became the chairman of them. And I'm pushing to have a chain of custody standard established by the Responsible Jewelry Council, because of political reasons they didn't do it before. But they do have a chain of custody standard for gold. And they talk about provenance claims about where diamonds come from. So there are some standards that are there. The DDI, Diamond Development Initiative, also has some, standards for artisanal diggers. I don't know if that's so good, and maybe they're sort of trying to do fair trade, which is a whole other level of stuff. But I think Mumbai is a good place to go to, and it's a good place to start. But I think that you really need to get involved. If you really want to make sure things are okay, you really got to invest some time and effort on this issue. And you'll be disappointed. It's going to be difficult, and it's not going to be perfect. Rappaport is working now. How can we certify, not just certify, source certified diamonds? And we're going to start doing that if we can, if we can do it honestly and correctly. So, I think that is one of the solutions. And not only that, we can actually put those differentiation up on RapNet, and then we can see, are people willing to pay more if it's got a green star? If they are. And more people are going to start going through these certification procedures and processes. So I think it's also about money. It's about, being good is okay, but it has to pay to be good, i.e. there has to be profits in being able to differentiate diamonds that have legitimate sourcing. So it's about the profits as well. Okay, we're 5 minutes over. I don't know what's going on with the other teams, the other people there. AGS, I call on you guys, young title. And guys, visit me in Vegas. Hang out with me. You might find me at the breakfast. You might find me around. And late at night, if I have the time, you might find me at the craps table. But I really encourage people to hang out and talk with me. And kind of, it's all about people. And we're trying to transcend the product to the people. So I'll be in Vegas. I think we have 24 people at Rappaport in Vegas. You see a rapper, you see a Rappaport person, talk to them. Yeah, get to know us. You get to hang out with us. Over to AGS.
Thank you so much, Martin. We are so glad that you presented for us, and the young title holders will see you in Vegas.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Let me know what's going on there. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Sure.